Hello friends, welcome to Nigra Techies. This video I'm going to explain new features in .NET Core 7.0. First let me provide some overview of .NET 7, then we can discuss about the individual features. So .NET 7 is nothing but .NET Core version 7.0 only. So basically this .NET Core is an open source framework for building modern cloud-based and internet connected application. So it provides this it pro also it provides cross-platform support. The performance also very high. So the last November 18, 2022, Microsoft released their latest version 7.0. For any release, they will include a lot of new features and some performance improvements. And there is any bugs in this previous version, they will rectify everything. The same thing here also it's happened. So this release it has over 1000 performance impacts changes including reflections. So there are noticeable performance improvement for ARM64 devices and a lot of new features includes in the different application areas. First we can list out what are the new features are included over the different applications. Next I'm going to tell you how to do this system setup for installing this .NET 7. So finally we can discuss about all the features one by one with some coding examples. So here the first feature is rate limiting in middleware. It is applicable for all the applications. So basically it is used for managing number of requests. And the second one is authentication uses single schema as the default scheme. Okay, this one also applicable for all the applications. So the next one is minimal API. So this minimal API is introduced in .NET 6.0. So now it is much improved. It is having lot of features. So the first feature is like a filters in minimal API, bind arrays and string values from headers and query strings, bind the request body as a stream or a pipe reader, new result start stream overloads, typed result for minimal API, improved unit testability for minimal route handlers, new HTTP result interfaces, and the final one is new problem service and route groups. So next Web API. So in this Web API, parameter binding with dependency injection in API controllers, JSON property names in validation errors, and this rate limiter also it's applicable here. And the next one is Open API improvements for minimal API. So this also a kind of minimal API feature only. So here this Open API option was enabled using this particular NuGet package, and we can call our Open API with parameters. So we can provide the endpoint description and the summaries. So new file upload functionalities. So we can upload the single file using iForm file interface. So same way if you are uploading multiple files, we can use iForm file collection interface. So these features are included. And the final one is as parameters attribute enables parameter binding for argument list. Okay. Next, let me move on MVC and Razor pages. So now our MVC and Razor pages support for nullable models. So previously, we can pass some models. So whatever data is available in this model that we can bind in our Razor pages. So the same thing as currently we can pass our model as the nullable type. Okay. And the next one is bind with iParsable try-parse in MVC and API controller. Customize the cookie consent value. So we can provide some customized value here. And the final one is Blazor. So in this Blazor application, lot of changes are included. The first one is handle location changing events and navigation state. And the next one is empty Blazor project template. It is included in the template side while creating the application. And the next one is Blazor custom elements, bind modifier, hard reload improvements, dynamic authentication request with MSAL in Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor WebAssembly debugging improvements, and the next system.security cryptography support on WebAssembly, inject service into custom validation attributes, input components outside of an edit context and edit form, project template changes, virtualization enhancements, mouse event arguments updates, new Blazor loading page. So these are the features was there. The finally performance. So in this performance point of view, output caching in middleware, HTTP 3 improvements, then HTTP 2 performance improvements, HTTP 2 WebSocket support, has told performance improvements on high core machines. So finally they have improved the startup time of application. So server ready event to measure the startup time. So these are the features are included. So now let me explain the system setup. The first thing is we have to install this .NET SDK 7.0. Next we have to install this .NET Runtime 7.0. For doing this installation, just go to the browser and search like a .NET 7 downloads. So the first link. So here we can see this SDK was available. So based on your OS, I mean your system, you have to download the required packages and install it. And the development tool, so we need to use this Visual Studio 2022. And then we have to install this .NET Core Runtime 7.0. So Microsoft recommending to installing this hosting bundle because this .NET Core Runtime also included in this hosting bundle and also this IA support. So in case if you are directly installing this .NET Core Runtime, it will work for our development time. So the deployment time we have to install it manually. Okay, for the IA support. So that's what they are suggesting like this. So once we have completed our installation, we can open our Visual Studio 2022. So here we can create our first .NET 7 Web API application, create a new project. The steps are same only. I am choosing this ASP.NET Core Web API. At the application name, I am going to provide like a first API. So see in this framework side. So previously it was .NET 6.0. Currently this .NET 7.0 standard term support was available. So this configure for HTTPS, it's fine. So basically it will take some time to create our project. Okay, it is created successfully. The application structure and everything is same only. There is not much changes. Okay. Now I'm going to run this application. We can verify. Okay, our application is running. That means our system setup is fine. So we are able to create new application and also we are able to run the application also. So now I'm going to explain our features one by one. So the first one is rate limiter. So rate limiter is the way of managing number of requests. It could be an web or API application. So we can handle everything in the particular time period. So this can help to improve our performance of our application and also preventing it from being unresponsive situation. Okay, so it is just a kind of configuration only. First we have to define our policy configuration in our middleware section. So then we have to call these policies in our particular controller action methods. Okay, so let me show you in this code, then you will get some better idea. So in this program.cs file, so in this service part, I'm going to add this add rate limiter. Okay, so here first we have to choose our limiter type. So let me choose this add fixed window limiter. So it is having our first input is policy name. So I'm going to provide the name as rate policy. Next we have to include these options. So in these options, first we have to set this queue limit. Okay, so queue limit I added 1. Next permit limit. So in the particular time period, I'm going to allow only one request. Okay. Next, we have to provide this window. Window is a time period only. Time span dot from seconds 1 second. So initially, I'm going to provide 5. Okay. And then order, queue processing order. Oldest to first. Okay. Now we have done. And the next thing is we have to enable this rate limiter in our apps. For doing this one, let me add here. use rate limiter. Okay. So finally, let me take this policy name. So in our controller, I am going to use for this particular action method enable rate limiting. So inside that we have to specify our policy name. That's it. Okay. So let me run this application and we can verify it. See now. So the first time it is returning the data. Second time it is waiting for 5 seconds. After that only it will return the response. Again, for every time it will wait for 5 seconds because we have specified our window time is 5 seconds. Okay. So in case if I am reducing this one, now see we are getting response within 1 second. Okay. And the next, so the queue limit I'm going to provide the value 0. This second we can increase it to 3 seconds for every response. Now what will happen means the first time it will work and return the data. So next time if I'm providing the request within 3 seconds, it won't work. See now initially it is returning the data. So I am waited just 3 seconds. If I'm clicking once again, it will work. Now I'm providing the request instantly. See, I'm getting this responses 503 error. Okay. If I'm clicking right now, it will give the exact result. If I'm clicking once again, it will throw this error. Okay. So the reason is we are added our queue limit is 0. So the particular time period it will process the single request. So it will get the one more request within the time period. It will throw the error. In case instead of returning this 503 error, do you want to provide some other error code? That also it's possible here. For doing this one, we have to add like rejection status code. Okay, 401. So let me run this application. So see now initially it's returning the data. So next time is the error. So currently we are getting this 401 error. So it is all about the customization change only. Okay. So I hope you got some better idea about this add rate limiter. So now we can move on the next point. Okay. So the next one is authentication uses single scheme as default scheme. So in ASP.NET Core, for enabling the authentication, we have to include add authentication in our middleware section. So while adding this section, we have to include this default scheme also. So hereafter, if you have only one registered authentication scheme, so it's not required to mention our default scheme. It will consider our single scheme as our default scheme. So that's all about this functionality. And next, let me move on minimal API. Minimal API are architectured to create HTTP APIs with minimal dependencies. They are ideal for microservices and apps that want to include only minimum file features and dependencies in ASP.NET Core. So I'm going to create one sample minimal API. So then we can see the new features. Okay. So basically this feature is introduced in .NET 6 onwards only. Now it is how much improved in this .NET 7. First we can define one basic get method app.map get. First our URL name, next our delegate handler, I'm going to provide one sample text. Okay, now we can run this one. So see one get method was there. Let me execute this one. See now whatever value we are returning, it is just return. Okay, now we can pass some parameters here. Let me provide one string value here. So we can test this one also. Okay, see, we have one parameter is called channel. I'm going to provide an hierarchy keys. Okay, see now, welcome to Nigira Techies. So currently I passed just a string value only. Similar way we can pass any data type. And for the testing purpose, I defined only one get method. So similar way we can use all the HTTP verbs in this area. Okay. And one more thing, this rate limiter concept. So the same rate limiter concept also we can apply for our minimal API. So let me show you how to do this one. Required rate limiter. Then we have to specify our policy name. So our policy name is rate policy. Okay. See now. So when I'm clicking second time, within 3 seconds, I'm getting this error because of the rate limiter is working. Okay. Okay, now let's discuss about the new features in minimal API. So the first one is filter. So in minimal API, filters allows developers to implement business logic that support below scenarios. So the first one is running code before and after the route handler. And the second one is inspecting and modifying parameters provided. And the third one is during a route handler innovation. The final one is intercepting the response behavior of the route handler. Okay. And the next one is bind arrays and string values from the headers and query strings. So in ASP.NET 7, binding query strings to an array of the primitive types, string arrays and string value is supported. So let me show you in this example side. So we can create one more minimal API. Let me copy the same code here. Country is my API name. So now I'm going to pass the input as one of the string array. So instead of returning directly, I'm going to provide some query string related data. Tag 1, channel of 0, tag 2, channel of 1. Let me save this one. We can run the application once again. So we can add the parameters here. Let me execute this one. See now, tag 1 India and tag 2 as USA. And instead of this string array, we can pass the string values data type. So we can run this one once again. Okay, it is working fine. And the next one is bind the request body as stream or pipe reader. So this feature is support for below scenarios. The first one is store the data as blob storage or enqueue the data to queue provider. And the second one is process the stored data with worker process or cloud function. And the next one is new result.stream overloads. So the result.stream overload to accommodate the scenario that needs to access the underlying HTTP response streams without buffering. And these overloads also improves the case when API stream data to HTTP response stream like Azure Blob and storage. And the third one is typed result for minimal API. So basically this is used for creating the unit test cases. Okay, in .NET 6 the iResult interface was introduced to represent the values returned from minimal API that don't utilize the implicit support for JSON serializing the returned object to the HTTP response. So the static result class is used to create varying iResult objects that represent different types of responses. So in .NET 7, the types implementing iResult are public, allowing for type assertions when testing. So that's what I have mentioned. It is playing wonderful role in our unit testing. And the next one is improved unit testability for minimal route handlers. So the iResult implementation types are now publicly available. So as I mentioned our previous topics, so the iResult implementation type can be used in unit test minimal route handler when using named method instead of lambdas. And the final one is new HTTP result interfaces. So in this minimal API, we can use the below HTTP result. The first one is I content type HTTP result, I file HTTP result, I nested HTTP result, I status code HTTP result, and the final one is I value HTTP result. Okay, so these are the new options was there. And the next one is Open API improvements for minimal API. So in this .NET Core, we have the package is called Open API. So using that, we can enable Open API and we can pass some parameters in this Open API, and we can change the description and the summary of the OpenAPI text. These are the things are possible. So let me show in this code. So we can write one more minimal API. So now I'm going to use post method. Okay. So the steps are same only. To do action. Here I'm going to have one parameter. We can use a synchronous event. Return result dot created. We have added, and finally we have to include this open API. Okay, so now we can run this one and verify. So see in this description we don't have nothing, right? So just we have the string value. So whatever value we are passed, the same response only getting, because we are returning like that only. And see the response code. This is for the created one. So in the real-time scenario, we may call our databases and do the required operations. So for the testing purpose, I'm not did anything. I am just returning the data. That's it. Okay. So as I mentioned, we can pass some parameters and we can modify this description also. So let me show you. Let me declare one parameter. Gen options dot parameters of 0, parameter dot description, enter input. Okay, so let me save this one. See the description. Previously we don't have anything. Currently whatever text we are provided, it is coming here, and other actions are same only. Okay, here we are getting the same response, right? And the next important feature is file upload. So using this minimal API, we can do the single file upload and also the multiple file upload. I'm going to create one more new function for handling this upload functionality. Again, this one also a post method. The first one is single upload. Okay. So for the single file upload, we have to use the interface iForm file. Okay. Here the first thing is we have to get the file name. So whatever file we are uploading, we can use the same file name, file.filename. And the next thing is where we are going to upload our files. So I'm going to upload all the files in the folder of uploads. So in our application we can create one folder, the name of upload. Okay, the folder is created. Currently we don't have any files, right? Next I'm going to initiate the string file dot open to write, and then we have to provide the path. Okay, so once your string path is ready, we have to copy the files into the particular path. Okay, so this method also is asynchronous, so we can use this await file dot copy to asynchronous, and we have to pass this string. That's it. Okay, we have done this functionality. Let me run and verify this one. Okay, so see, we have this upload option. So let me upload one file here. So we can choose our channel logo. I'm going to execute this one. See the response 200 and the success response only. So now let me check in my folder. See, so whatever image I have added, I mean uploaded, it is coming here. So the similar way I'm going to upload one more file, and this jQuery file. Okay, so again it's saved. So see, totally we have two images. Okay, let me remove both the items, and I'm going to create one more function. This is for uploading multiple files at the same time. Upload collection. Okay, so instead of this iForm file, we can use iForm file collections. So I'm going to generate the for loop here, and other steps are same only. Okay, so we are uploading in the same folder only. So we can run the application once again. Upload collections. So see, now I'm going to upload. First one is API logo, and the second is Visual Studio logo, and the third I'm going to take this VS Code logo. So totally I have three files. So let me execute this one. So great, we are getting the same response, 200 only. So let me check in this folder. So what are the files we have uploaded? Everything should be there. Okay, that means our functionality is working fine. So most of the functionalities we have covered. So anyway, let me provide the overview. So the first one is call with OpenAPI with parameters and providing endpoint description and summaries. So that's what we have provided the description, right? So see, we have provided the description, and also in this OpenAPI we have passed these parameters. So these two things are covered here. And the next one is file upload. So file upload, just now only I have explained. So we have two interfaces, iForm file and iForm file collection. So for the single file upload we can use this iForm file, and the multiple files we can use this iForm file collections. So I just used the straightforward way and I uploaded. So what are the customization, like changing the file name, storing files in different folders, and if the folder is not there, we can create the folder, and the file is already exist, we have to replace it. So all the actions we can apply. This is all about our business logic only. Okay. Now let me move on our next topic. So it is in Web API, parameter binding with dependency injection in API controller. So okay, so in the previous version of API, so if you are passing dependency injection as parameter means, so we have to use this from services attribute. So in this .NET 7, we not required to use this from services. So instead of that, directly we can use our dependency injection. So let me explain from our code. So in this web API, I am going to create one more function here. I mean one more action method. Get channel name, success response. Okay. So initially I just provided null only. Okay. First, I'm going to create one interface. iChannel service. Get channel name. Now I'm going to create one class for the implementation. So the name is channel service. So let me implement our interface here. iChannel services. So we can return one hard-coded value, Nigerata keys. Okay. And the next thing is we have to register in this middleware, then only our dependency injection will work. So builder.services add scoped. So basically three ways we can add in this dependency injection. I'm going to use this add scoped only. So first we have to mention our interface name, iChannel service, and next we have to provide our implementation class. Okay. So this step is done. Now let me go to our controller side. So in this .NET 6, it should be like this only, from services. So our dependency injection interface name is iChannel service. So instead of this null, we can return from our service method. Okay. So now the functionality is completed. So in this .NET Core, this area, I mean this attribute is not required. It will work like this one. So let me run this one and we can verify. Okay. Okay, we got the Swagger error. So let me set the routing name here. So this one also a get method only, and our method name is get channel name. That's it. Okay, great. It is working fine. So Nigerata is that's it. And the next one is Web API JSON property names in validation error. So in .NET Core, when a validation error occurs, the model validation produces model state dictionary with a property name as the key of error key. Okay. In some applications such as single page apps, the benefit of using JSON property names for the validation errors generated from web APIs. So this is all about web API. Now let me move on MVC. So in MVC, views and Razor pages now supporting for nullable models. So let me show you the code. So first let me create one MVC project in .NET 7. So in this template side, I'm going to search like MVC. First MVC application. So again, the framework is 7.0. Okay, it is created very quickly, right? Now I'm going to create one more action method. We can create the required view also. So without model, our view is created. Now I'm going to initiate one string list. So it's a country list. So we can include some values. First India, then USA, and the third Singapore. So this is the just test data I am passing to my view. So in my view, I am going to declare my model. Next, I am going to use one list. Okay, this is fine. I'm going to run this application. We can verify. So here we can provide country. See now, it is binded in the list. Okay. So as I mentioned, we can pass the nullable model. So I'm going to provide one question mark, right? So using these nullable models, we can verify so whether we have the data or not. If we don't have any data, we can provide some custom messages. Okay. So let me show you. If the model is null, so the else scenario, we can use the existing code. And in this null scenario, we can provide some custom messages. I'm going to comment all the data null. I'm going to run this application once again. So now we got the messages like country no data found. So if you have the data, it will work fine. And the next one is custom is the cookie consent value. So the previous version of ASP.NET Core, the cookie consent validation uses the cookie values yes to indicate the consent. Now you can specify the values that represent the consent. Okay. So that actually we have to enable it from our middleware. Let me show you. So builder.services configure cookie policy options. So first time added check consent needed, and the next minimum site policy, same site mode none. Okay, and the final one is cookie consent value. So the next one is performance improvement. The first point is output caching. So that store the response from web app and serves from our cache rather than instead of calculating every time. Now let me move on to the next point. HTTP 3 improvements. Makes HTTP 3 fully supported by ASP.NET Core. It is no longer experimental. And the next one is improves HTTP support for HTTP 3. The two main areas of improvements are feature parity with HTTP 1.1 and HTTP 2 and performance. Okay. And the third one is provides full support for use HTTPS. With HTTP 3, Hostel offers advanced options for configuring connection certificate such as hooking into server name identification, short form is SNI. And the final one is add support for HTTP 3 on HTTP.sys and IAS. And the next one is HTTP 2 WebSocket support. In .NET 7 introduced WebSocket over HTTP 2 support for Hostel, the single or JavaScript client and a single or with Blazor WebAssembly. Using WebSocket over HTTP2 takes the advantage of new features such as header compression, multiplexing which reduces the time and resources needed when making multiple requests to the servers. These supported features are available in Hostel on all HTTP2 enabled platforms. The version negotiation automatic in browser and Hostel. So no new API are needed. These supported features are available in Hostel on the all HTTP2 enabled platforms. The version negotiation is automatic in browser and Hostel, so no new APIs are needed. Okay, we almost covered all the application except this Blazor. So the Blazor basically they have included a lot of features that maybe I will cover in the separate video. So anyway, let me create one Blazor project before closing this video. So here also the step is same only. So in the template you have to search like a Blazor. So see we have four template like a Blazor server app, Blazor WebAssembly app, and we have this Blazor server app empty, Blazor WebAssembly app empty. So let me take this one server app. So same .NET 7.0 the framework. Okay, our Blazor application is running fine. This counter, okay, one counter app is there, it is working. And the final one is fetch data. So this one also working fine. So these are the sample data provided by Microsoft. Now we are almost in the end of the video. So here I shared two reference link that actually I will include in this description. So the first one is for downloading .NET 7 SDK and runtime. And the second one is new features in .NET 7. So basically it is a documentation for .NET 7 provided by Microsoft. So here you can see all the features in .NET 7. Okay. And they have included some small examples and reference link. So if you want to get more details about the particular feature, you can go to the link and then you can get more information. So end of the summary, I have explained how to install this .NET 7 and creating application in .NET 7. So we have created three applications. The first one is Web API, then MVC, the final one is Blazor. And also we have covered almost all the features. Some features I have explained with the proper coding examples. So still if you have any doubts or clarification, please post in the comment box, and also please don't forget to subscribe my channel. And especially if you are looking for any other features, please let me know. I will create the separate video on that. Thank you. Thanks for watching.